As the president escalates attacks on Iran, a new front is opening up. The Houthis now threatening to block ships in the Red Sea, a waterway even more critical than the Strait of Hormuz for global goods. As the fighting ramps up, so does the price of oil, now topping $100 a barrel and pushing gas prices higher. Julia Ainsley has the very latest from Washington, D.C.
Less than 24 hours after announcing a nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia, President Trump throwing a curveball this morning, announcing that the agreement will only happen if Saudi Arabia joins the Abraham Accords.
This is a condition that the president has spoken about many times with our Gulf and Arab allies. He wants to see these countries sign the Abraham Accord.
Trump brokered the accords in his first term, aimed at Muslim countries normalizing relations with Israel. But Saudi Arabia has always said it would not join until there is progress toward a Palestinian state. That's a non-starter for Israel. If the deal goes through, American companies stand to make millions building new power stations in the Middle East.
It will eventually, hopefully, be finalized with the condition that the president spoke about this morning.
But now the Saudis and the U.S. must contend with an expanding front in the war with Iran, the Red Sea. The Houthis, an Iranian proxy, attacked 2 Saudi tankers in the waterway, just days after the rebels announced a naval blockade on the kingdom's ports. The Trump administration is warning the group to stay out of the conflict.
They shouldn't really do that. They got suckered into this by the Iranians.
The Red Sea is a vital passageway, with more than $1 trillion of goods passing through every year, including oil. With the stalemate in the Strait of Hormuz hampering oil tankers, prices have jumped to more than $100 a barrel. That's pushed gas prices back above the $4 per gallon mark. But it's not just gas. Moody's estimates consumers have paid more than $1,200 in higher prices.
I think that Americans of all backgrounds are sick of seeing the United States enter wars without justification, spending trillions of dollars in our engagements abroad, and people can't even afford an inhaler pump here at home.
And joining us tonight to discuss is retired 4-star Army General Barry McCaffrey, also a military analyst for MS Now. Thanks for being with us.
Good to be with you, George.
Okay, General, public support, as you know, for this war is falling, yet the White House is asking for billions more to fight this war that President Trump insists the U.S. is winning. What's your view?
Well, oddly, Iran is an economic basket case, and it's getting worse. Much of their conventional military power has been destroyed, certainly naval and air forces. And yet we find the utility of U.S. military power is declined. We cannot keep the Straits of Hormuz open using air and naval power. It's unlikely, even with 150,000 troops, that we could control the periphery of this multi-hundred-mile-long Persian Gulf. So we're in trouble. Now, added to that, of course, which you just reported on, the Houthis and potentially turning off the Red Sea, which, of course, is all Suez Canal traffic, would be a further blow to the economy. I think the Iranians, who are extremely ideological, they despise the U.S. and Israel. They are willing to tolerate enormous sacrifice. They murdered 40,000 of their own citizens to maintain control, are not going to blink. President Trump essentially gave them, in this memorandum of understanding, an incredible throw-in-the-towel deal. They should have taken it. Gave much of what they needed. So it's hard to say where all this is going.
Let's talk a little bit about the cost. 17 Americans have died, more than 400 wounded, with roughly 50,000 troops across the Gulf. How exposed are American bases and ships as Iranians and the U.S. ramp up the targeting?
Well, it's another implication of the new age of warfare. The technology of drones can fly hundreds of miles and then pack with a 200 or 300 pound payload. Precision strikes is simply changed the nature of the game. A lot of the ground-based combat power we had in the Middle East has been forced to disperse. A lot of it moved up in either Israel or Jordan now being attacked. The Gulf Coast states are exposed. The ability to defend against air attack with these ballistic and cruise missiles and drones requires precision air defense munitions like Patriot and THAAD, which are in limited supply. Oddly enough, from a military viewpoint, U.S. military power is not going to contribute to bringing the Iranians to their knees. Both sides are going to have to talk. Negotiations are going to have to get underway. The Iranians will have the upper hand. We're going to come out of this with their nuclear program, I believe, largely unimpeded and with them basically in control of the Persian Gulf.
One Democratic lawmaker today called the war, quoting now, planned, foreseeable chaos with no end in sight. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Oh, completely. It's just hard. And by the way, the President of the United States is impulsive. He's quixotic. He's changing his mind every day. These are large events. It takes time and a strategy and a conceptual organization to get something done in warfare of this nature. He's not capable of doing this. So again, I cannot foresee how it's going to come out, but I do think both sides have a major incentive to negotiate and to stop the fighting. The likely outcome is what should concern us. And again, the only crucial objective the United States had going into this war was stop their nuclear program, which requires international atomic energy negotiators, inspectors, to be on the ground. I don't think that's going to happen.
So what outcome is the U.S. aiming for with the situation being what it is today? And does the current strategy, in your mind, match the goal?
Well, I think the president obviously can't just quit and walk away from it yet. So he's following the one course of action he understands, which is to up the air attack and naval attacks from the sea. There were 21,000 air sorties striking Iran prior to this latest outbreak. Why would a few hundred more change the military situation on the ground? But I think he's going to go after economic targets. Maybe we could keep this up for 90 days. Maybe that would help get them back to the negotiating table. I think that's the only idea he's working on right now.
General McCaffrey, thank you so much for your insight and your time tonight. We really appreciate it.
Good to be with you, Joyce.